record. What is the secret to going low around here?
It's probably good iron play, to be honest. I mean, the fairways are generous enough where I think that most guys are going to be putting it in play off the tee, and I think it's a great second shot golf course. The greens are fairly big, but there's sections of the greens where they put the pin that you can sort of work the ball to the hole. In some senses, like Augusta, there's a few sort of sideboards, and the pins are occasionally little bowls. But if you hit an accurate iron shot, you create a lot of birdie chances, and obviously the greens are very, very good, and particularly good this year. So you're also going to have to make a lot of putts because the winning score is normally pretty well under par. So you're going to have to putt well.
And there's a lot of talk about Rory McIlroy and Danny Willett, but you're in third place and still can win the whole thing. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was my whole goal, was to come into this tournament with a chance that if I win, then I'm have a great chance to win it. I actually don't know the maths on it. If I win and Rory finishes second, I'm not sure if he still wins, or if I win, I don't know. But it's going to be very close from that point of view. But the way I see it, if I win this tournament, I'd be very unlucky not to win the race to Dubai. So for the most part, I've done my job of getting to this point in the season with a great chance to win it all.
Good, we'll take some questions. Phil, start us off.
Justin, Rory's got a pretty phenomenal record around here. How do you fancy your chances this week?
Yeah, I fancy my chances. I think he pipped me in, was it 2012, was it? I remember being 2 ahead playing the last. I looked at the leaderboard, I was 2 ahead playing the last. He was a few holes behind, and I made birdie. Very few times you play the last 2 ahead, make birdie and lose. He birdied the last 5 to win. So obviously he's got a great record. But Henrik Stenson has a great record here. I would say me, Rory, and Henrik, all of us have played incredibly well at this venue the last few years. So there's a pretty fair chance that one of us is going to be there on Sunday, and obviously we're all hoping it's going to be the right guy from our own point of view. But there's definitely going to be a lot of challenge this week, and whoever wins is going to still have to play their best golf.
John.
Have you had your 5 minutes with Keith Pelley? Or are you?
Yeah.
And?
My hour and 5 minutes, yeah.
And how much of that hour and 5 minutes did you talk, and how much did you listen?
Oh, it was good. I mean, obviously, I think it was myself, Rory, and Henrik all sat in a room, and it was very informal, and it was just really getting to know Keith a little bit, and just hear a little bit about his vision. And he was very. It was just more of a fact-finding mission, I guess. He just wanted to get our thoughts on things, and just throwing around a few hypotheticals, and it was just a really nice open format, and it was good to get to know him. And he seems like a great guy with some good ideas and a fresh energy. So it's exciting.
Brennan?
Justin, coming here to Dubai, when you look back on your season this year, what sort of report card would you give yourself for the season?
I think, having won now in Hong Kong, I think it goes up to certainly the B+, A- range. My play in the major championships, I think, was probably a highlight. I think I was maybe 4th all-time low score in the majors combined, aggregate score. So, I think that's something to be proud of. Both, I would say, all 3 really well. The Masters, the Open Championship, and the PGA Championship, I had a chance to win on Sunday. So, those are good positions to put yourself in. And obviously, you can really build a great European Tour season around playing well in the major championships. And, that's what I managed to do this year. But, you always want to win tournaments. And, I felt like I played very, very well through the summer without really having won. Won the Zurich Classic back in April, I guess. And then through the summer, I had created a few chances to win, hadn't won, so it was important for me to get that win in Hong Kong, just to sort of keep that winning feeling. So, for the most part, it's been a very good year coming into here, and this would be obviously the icing on the cake.
Sorry, Derek first.
Justin, as you said, you played really consistently throughout the season. Do you feel you've been a little unlucky to reach this point, having not won what I consider the biggest prize?
Yeah, because you can never control what other people do. So, had I played, if I play like I did this year, next year, maybe that will result in 1 or 2 major championships. You never know. Absolutely. So, I feel like I'm knocking on the door again to win the big tournaments, and sometimes you need to do that to get that breakthrough. So, you know, for me it's about consistency, and if I continue to put myself in that position, then, you know, the door is going to open for me. And obviously I feel like this year I've been beaten a couple of times by you know, record-breaking performances. Was Jason Day 20 or 18 under or 20 under, whatever it was at the PGA, and then you know, Jordan again 18 under the Masters. So you know, it's taken record-breaking performances to sort of prevent me from winning. I know I finished to the third or whatever I finished, or fourth, or I don't even know, at the PGA Championship, but I was 17 under playing maybe the 12th or 13th hole. But because Jason was already a few ahead, you know, by pressing you make a couple of mistakes. But had I been at the front, you know, some of those mistakes wouldn't have happened necessarily. So, you know, I felt like I did all the right things to give myself a chance to win this year. So I just need to continue to do that next year, and you sometimes can't force the victory, it just needs to happen.
Justin, we had Henrik in here yesterday, and he was saying he's got having a problem with his knees, or he had a problem before with one and now with another. And he said that he advises young players today to get as fit as they possibly can, because it's going to tell if they don't. Do you regret anything in your fitness over the years, or have you always done as much as you should?
Well, you know, the good thing is I feel now at 35, I feel fitter, stronger and healthier than I did at 25. You know, when I was 21, I was just already having pretty severe back trouble, and you know, really touch wood, haven't had anything significant since 2007. So, you know, I feel like I have done a pretty good job of being diligent with my fitness, and I think it is incredibly important to have longevity, to stay fit. But, you know, there's also, you know, it's always a risk-reward situation in the gym. You know, being fit doesn't always mean being incredibly strong. And to get incredibly strong, you take on risk in the gym. Anytime you lift weights and press to get incredibly powerful, you risk injury too. So there's a very fine line, and you need very good people around you to sort of guide you through the process.
Presumably those people are getting better and better at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, there's a lot of science in sport now, and you know, everything can be measured and tweaked and changed. And, but yeah, you know, you need a good team of people around you, which I think obviously I feel that I've been able to assemble in the last sort of 5 or 6 years.
Just an opening. Hi. In what way is it a goal for you to become the world #1?
Yeah, I would say it's, you know, it's on my radar, and you know, probably, yeah, for the first time I feel like it's a realistic goal. The way I'm playing, the consistency in which I'm playing, I feel like if I get a hot run and you know, suddenly go on a run where I win a couple of majors and a couple of other tournaments, you know, I'm right there to be world #1. So you know, you see Jason Day and Jordan and you know, Rory, with it been trading around this year, and you know, obviously those are guys I play golf with a lot, and you see their games, and you know, you also sometimes feel there's no reason why I can't play to that level as well. So yeah, the world #1 is, I'm still a long way away from it. You know, it needs a very special run, but I believe it's possible.
Justin, there is quite a gap in terms of points between you and Danny Willett and Rory up at the top there. Do you think that maybe you come in with the pressure and the expectancy off you a little bit, and is there a chance that maybe they view it as a head-to-head, and you can come in under the radar, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, the equation for me is simple. You know, I'm close enough that if I win, I feel like I win the whole thing. So it's very simple for me, and you know, I feel like I'm close enough where that's good. I'm as close as I need to be. Where those guys are going to have to keep their eye up on one another. I mean, there's a scenario where they could finish 20th and 25th and pick up a race to Dubai if obviously myself and Shane and people like that don't finish in the top 2. So they're going to be the guys who are looking at the scenarios of the week a lot closer than I am, because for me it's a pretty simple equation. I need to go out and pretty much win the tournament, and if I do that, then you know, it could be a great week. So yeah, so from that point of view, is there less pressure on me? Probably not. There's probably more pressure because I have to win, but it's a much more simple equation. At least I know I can be very single-minded on what my goal is this week.
Justin, if you had to assess your golf over this year, what would you say is the part of it that's pleased you most, and which is the part that you think you, I don't want to say disappointed with, but perhaps hasn't pleased you quite as much as the other parts? Best and worst.
I would have to go with consistency being the most pleasing part. I think, as a player, like Jack Nicklaus, for example, has always said that his bad was better than everybody else's bad. And, he was able to manage his game, and, that created a lot of winning opportunities for him. So I feel like my consistency has gotten a lot better, and that's what I'm most pleased about, I would say, is that my overall level, my mean average has gone up this year. Your good is always good, but I would say my average has gone better. So that's pleasing. And I feel like I'm working on some exciting things. I feel like I've streamlined my routine, I've streamlined my mental approach. I feel like I'm freer on the golf course. I feel like everything's a bit more simple and easier out there for me. I'm not having to think through things as hard or as much. So that's a bit of an easier place to play golf, especially under pressure. So I think that's also been another step forward mentally this year. I've seen also a lot of improvement in my putting. Again, that's a big improvement, and if I continue that trend into next year, it'll be an exciting year. So areas that I can work on, there's always areas you can work on. I would say chipping would probably be an area that I'd like to improve, or just to develop a little bit more confidence in, and that's something I can do over the off season.
Justin, Rory wouldn't have been a problem for you to catch if he obviously hadn't been here. What was your view on him getting the special exemption to be in the race to Dubai, having only played 12 events?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to have guys like Rory involved in the tour and committed to the tour. And if you didn't give him that special exemption, we'd have lost him in Turkey and would have lost him this week. So I think overall, as a tour, it's good to have him around. And obviously, the exemption came through an unfortunate injury and unforeseen circumstances. If he'd have just maybe not wanted to get out of bed and play a couple of tournaments, then that exemption doesn't become possible. But it was in a sense a medical exemption. But I think it's good for the tour to have him competing and being at these tournaments.
Hello. You just mentioned science in golf. How much do you use science? And if you can speak about one of your processes, like maybe putting?
Yeah, so I think I used to rely on science a lot. I used to use the TrackMan a lot. I used to use the Sam Putt Lab a lot. I used to get a lot of data and feedback, and I used to try and perfect technique. And I think I've gone away from that a lot this year, and I've kind of put a lot more faith in my own ability and my own talent and my own creativity. And I think my process, especially my putting, is to be a lot more visual now, and kind of just read the greens a bit better, see better pictures, have a better visualization of the putt, and then trust that I'm going to put the ball on that line, rather than believe the process would be read the green perfectly, aim the putter perfectly, put it on the perfect speed, have a perfect stroke. There seemed like you had to do an awful lot of things well to make a putt, whereas I now feel like I could do maybe one or two things wrong, but as long as I've got a good visual, a bad stroke and bad alignment, you can still make the putt if you see it correctly.
Is it costless?
Is it?
Costless because self-awareness?
Yeah, absolutely. Better self-awareness, better awareness of the target, better pictures, absolutely. All of that stuff I think is important.
Justin, when do you start up again next year, and what's your schedule up to Augusta?
Not 100% sure still. Next year is definitely a tricky scheduling. It's not normally my strong point. My manager Maka behind is already hanging his head. Yeah, he's trying to get me to make these decisions as well. So, Hawaii, Kapalua is still on the radar, but it does seem to come around very, very quickly. Christmas, New Year, do I want to play a tournament when I haven't really practiced for a couple of weeks? I'm not sure. Preparation is always a big part of how I go about things. So, I was also thinking about playing a bit more on the West Coast and less in Florida this year. This year I had a really tough Florida swing, allergies and all sorts of stuff. I really suffered pretty badly, and so I was thinking about a bit more West Coast, a bit less Florida swing, heading into Augusta. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, right, last one, yeah.
I actually have two questions.
Okay, that's it.
My first question is, said you had bad allergies in Florida. Have you tried already, like nutrition-wise, to change something that the allergies are going to improve?
Yeah, so I'll start with your second question. Absolutely. So I definitely did it a natural way with the allergies, and kind of went on a low histamine diet, cutting out basically all foods that have a histamine load on the body, so that when you get in an environment where your body's dealing with allergens, your body has a much better chance of coping. Whereas if your body's already overloaded with things that you're eating, or basically things that you're eating. You have less ability to deal with obviously the pollens and stuff like that you're experiencing in your environment. So yeah, I did it the natural way, let's say, and when I got to Augusta, I was actually perfect. Didn't sneeze once, and it was incredible how well it worked without taking any medication. So that'll definitely be my goal running into Augusta next year, is to do everything very cleanly and diligently. And then from the mental side, I would say it's almost keeping things a bit more simple and almost playing like a kid again, in the sense of seeing the shot, hitting the shot, reacting to my target, rather than stepping through many different swing thoughts and things like that. So in some ways that makes the game feel a bit more simple, and trusting my own ability and stuff like that a little bit more. So it's actually been quite a fun, freeing period, and I'm enjoying the work that I'm doing on the mental side.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up. Justin, thank you and good luck this week.
Thank you.